Day 21 of the Undercover Policing Inquiry, Tranche 2, Phase 2. We've been listening to live evidence of Bob Lambert, which feels like we've been waiting for a very long time. It has been broadcast live. There was a breach. The breach was incredibly minor. It didn't matter too much as far as I was concerned, but it does mean that some degree of the live stream of the inquiry was blocked. As always happens, much more is blocked than actually is subject to restriction. So about 10 minutes of material was lost entirely. Only a few seconds were breaking a restriction order. Bob Lambert has been giving evidence. He has been an appalling witness by anybody's stretch. He is very ponderous over his words. He talks in circular sentences. Essentially repeating the question back to David Barr, requiring David Barr to make incessant extra questions, which are just really reiterating what the original question was. I can't see that Bob Lambert will be able to keep this up for 5 days. He clearly knows a lot more than he is saying. He says, I cannot recall so often. It's almost like a constant refrain. It's like the chorus to every question he asked. Annoyingly as well, I've had to delete quite a number of my tweets today, including the video of the update during the break. I'm unsure what I said during the update during the break that was breaking restriction orders. I will review it. If I can edit that video and re-release it, I will, but I don't know if I will be able to do that. There's a great deal that Bob Lambert is saying this afternoon, and fair play to David Barr, KC. I assumed that this session would be very much an introductory one about Lambert's background. He went straight into important questions around what Lambert knew when he was in C-section, in C-Squad, Special Branch. We then went on to the advice that he was given around sexual relationships, about what knowledge he claimed he had about Mike Chitty's sexual relationships. He said that he did know about them, but he couldn't say when. Was it when he was not for himself? Or he couldn't say. When he was a manager, he couldn't say. I mean, I was wondering if Lambert was going to ask, well, did you find out yesterday on your way here or something? You know, it was farcical. Very clear that Lambert is lying. I don't know if anybody else is here wants to join me on the thing. Kate Wilson is joining me. I would point out that the video, not the last video we did, but the video before had been deleted because apparently we broke some restriction order.
Oh, bollocks.
So be careful.
Yes. Well, I'm unlikely to breach a restriction order. Boring is the order of the evening. I mean, we haven't heard from an undercover cop in a while, and I've sort of forgotten how unengaging it is listening to someone who does not want to be talking about the things that they're talking about and will claim not to remember absolutely anything they can get away with not remembering. He's talking very slowly. You know, it's difficult to follow because it's dull. Said some interesting stuff. Not sure I can remember what any of it is right now, so I'm going to hand back to you.
Yeah, essentially, I would say that the things of interest is stuff that he very quickly rolled back on. I used the example of the Mike Chitty. He knew about the sexual relationship, but he couldn't say when he knew, up to maybe it was yesterday. Maybe he found out just about half an hour ago. There was other bits of it where he talked about the advice that he was given. There was a comical section where he was talking about the use of drugs. Where he essentially said that he might well have feigned taking drugs. Can't remember how he feigned it or how often he feigned it.
Yes, the claim that he couldn't remember how often he feigned taking drugs suggested actually that he wasn't really faking it. Because, how many times can you forget?
Right. Yeah. Very much you get the impression that he knows a lot more than he's saying. We were shown the document. There was two bits of evidence which he had given like about 10 years ago. One in a letter to Spinwatch, another in an interview with Channel 4. Both of which he said no, he was lying then, but he's telling the truth now.
Bill Clinton defence yet again.
Yeah, just this idea that somehow the things that he said in 2013 were lies, that he shouldn't have said, but he did. He lied to the national media, he lied on an open internet forum, but right now he's telling the truth. He can't remember. It wasn't that at all. No, he didn't mean it. The first one went to Channel 4 News was that the practice of stealing dead children's identity went up to the highest level. Now he says that it wouldn't have gone. Well, he doesn't know of it going beyond the senior officer in S squad, which is not particularly senior. I don't know if you'd even call that a senior position, but anyway. The second one was in a letter to Spinwatch, where he claimed that his job was to infiltrate and prosecute ALF activists. He now says,
this is a particularly big one because, of course, although he's now saying his reporting was intelligence only, we know that it was used to prosecute ALF activists, but of course it wasn't in the sense that it wasn't disclosed to the defence. It wasn't. So the idea that he was actually in there from the beginning with the intention of identifying and prosecuting people, but not required to report to intelligence, to evidential standards, and there was never any intention of informing the defence. You know, I mean, basically the whole thing's a fucking stitches. And now he's like, no, it was always intelligence only. This is going to come back when we get to talking about the activists who actually were prosecuted for Lambert's intelligence and the mechanism of that within the police force. I mean, it's an absolutely glaringly clear miscarriage of justice, but the inquiry still does have to unpick exactly on what scale and going up how far within the unit, etc. So it's an interesting one.
Yeah, we are only on a short break, so I think better go now. But as I say, it is being broadcast live on YouTube. Apparently, it's also being broadcast live on the BBC.
It is on iPlayer.
Yeah, so please tune in on either of those platforms, whichever you find easier. Tell your friends. I think it's going to be quite unusual for things to be live streamed, given the way in which the inquiry staff have been telling us about the problems with some of the things that have been released, which apparently break protection orders. It'll be interesting to see how much more is live streamed as we can. So watch it while you can. Cheers. Thanks for following.